Well, hello again. Bill Crane here with the Bill Crane Report. My friend Dwayne Weiss.
Did you miss us?
So, we on the previous show we've been talking, and we just had one quick thing that we started on, and we said to us, we'll carry this forward to the next show.
Yeah, we kind of ran out of time.
Yeah. Overdose deaths in the U.S. topped 100,000 people in the last 12 rolling months versus 78,000 in the previous 12 rolling months. That's an increase of almost 30%. What are your thoughts on that, Dwayne? I thought this OD thing was...
The what?
I thought the OD was coming down.
No, I don't think it came down. I think it just got it off the front page.
Okay.
When you get things, the pandemic took over, and then the election and all that other stuff, and then these kind of things like overdose things, they just get pushed back to page 9, you know, or off the page at all. But I didn't read the article. I saw the headlines, and I suspect again it's fentanyl. Fentanyl seems to be the big bad boy here.
It's like an accelerant.
Exactly. And fentanyl, unfortunately, is relatively easy to produce. Transport, it's small, it's difficult, and the high, I guess, is tremendous for the addicts, but it's extremely dangerous.
And yet, with all of these warning signs about fentanyl,
Yep.
we are still, there's a segment of our population that is saying we should not be incarcerating drug dealers or
I don't agree with that.
druggies.
No.
There are people that are convicted of drug-related crimes. They're not violent. Well, how about the drug dealers
Yeah.
that are selling this stuff and people are dying?
Watch your paper. I just saw again within the last few weeks a case where somebody local got caught with 2 pounds of fentanyl.
Whoa.
2 pounds of fentanyl. You know how many people that'll kill?
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And he didn't get anything. He got 6 months or 8 months or something. Then, if you caught a guy with a compact
bomb.
thermonuclear device in a briefcase, yeah, he'd go to Leavenworth for the rest of his life. But here's a guy that caught 2 pounds, well, it's a kilo, 2.2 pounds of fentanyl, which probably, I don't know, I would guess 1,000 people you could have killed with that
Oh,
thing.
more than that, I
Or
think.
more than that.
Oh, yeah.
And then he got some late local judge kind of, he didn't
Yeah.
really do anything. He just had it, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he wasn't going to bury it. He was going to use it to sell it. Not use it, but sell it to other people that they would sell it to somebody else that's going to kill somebody.
And now, when you lace heroin or crack or whatever with fentanyl, when you add it or to
That's usually what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
as an additive, this is not. This drug dealer does not have a laboratory
No, God no.
where he can precisely measure a unit to lace the drug with this fentanyl. It's, put some of that in there and stir it up. Now
Yep,
that's
exactly.
And then you get wicked high doses going out there. People whack-o in the arm and they're dead.
There's a phenomenon, and I don't understand why. I don't have the opiate-addicted mindset, fortunately, but people will seek out a drug, and drugs actually today have a brand. A lot of they come in, they might have a Mustang on them, or an Eagle, or a Star, or something. They brand their product. And if somebody dies from an overdose, all of a sudden the addicts out there, that's the one they want because it's extra strong.
Yeah, Yeah.
To me, that would be the one I'd say to hell away from.
Yeah.
But
Extra
I don't under-
horsepower.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you, Dwayne, I've said it before and I'll say it again, but drugs are destroying the fabrics of America.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Are destroying families.
yep.
They are destroying young lives. And if someone doesn't die of an overdose, they're leading a miserable life
Absolutely.
of addiction.
Everything centers around procuring that drug.
Yep.
Your mind just gets controlled by it. You know, I used to smoke, and I know what the addiction for nicotine is, and it's strong.
I had a friend of mine that was a combination alcoholic
Mm-hmm.
and cigarette smoker. He said, you
It's got a
know,
double whammy there.
he said, I could stop drinking,
Yep.
but
Smoking
I
is a little different.
cannot stop smoking.
I went through hell getting to
Yeah.
stop. I had to stop
How long
twice.
did it take you?
Well, the first time, 3 or 4 months to convince myself and trying to find, and then I would stop on a Monday, and then Sunday night I'd throw anything that looked like a cigarette or tobacco away and make sure that I couldn't get my hands on it, because Sunday night when you just had a cigarette, you're pretty brave.
Yeah.
Come Monday morning when you get up, you're not so brave anymore. So you don't want a half a pack of cigarettes sitting on the table there, because you're gonna go over and take one.
And the first thing.
So I'd throw everything away, and then Monday morning, sometimes I'd get to 9, 10 o'clock, and I'd go get a pack of cigarettes. I'd convince myself it was, I won't smoke them during the week, I'll just once in a while. But then I'd wait till the next Monday, try that again, try it again. And that probably went on for a couple of months until I finally got myself to get through a day and then 2 days. And then I did the stupidest thing I've ever done, and that I went to a sales meeting, and then those days the room would be blue with smoke because everybody was smoking. And in the hospitality suite, they had an open bar, and that when you drink or eat, the tobacco nicotine just seems to go with it. It just one triggers off the other. And you're having a few cocktails or beers, and then they did these big dishes of cigarettes, open cigarettes. I said, yeah, it's been 6 months. What the hell?
One won't hurt.
One won't hurt. By the time I had 2, 3, time we went home, we changed planes from I don't know where we come, Puerto Rico or Florida. We changed planes in Atlanta. I bought a pack of cigarettes. I came back addicted to nicotine again. And the second time I did it, I had did the same thing, and it was worse. First of all, I knew what I was going to go through, and I tried and tried and tried, and then one day I did make it through one day, and I said, I'm not going to blow that day, and now I'll try 2 days, and then 3 days. It went on. I still had the urge 6 months to a year later, not constant. Those first few days, that never you never forgot about having a cigarette. Everything you did, everything you saw, you constantly had that urge, and you keep telling yourself, why won't that go away? Well, eventually, of 3 days, 4 days, it kind of lets up a little bit, and then it comes back. The telephone would ring. I'd reach for a cigarette. I'd have dinner. Right after dinner, I wanted a cigarette, And those are the time those things trigger, and that's what makes you fall back into the habit or into off the wagon, so to speak.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know when this day there was no such thing as the nicotine patch or anything like that, or the pills.
Right.
And I don't know what those do. I know they provide a nicotine, but I don't know how that could solve your nicotine addiction. All you're doing is to me, it just seems like you're just putting it in a different conveyance of getting nicotine.
Unless the patch is progressive.
That's
and
true.
The treatment is
might be what it is.
Lighter and lighter and lighter until you weaned off of it.
Yeah. But an addiction, I can imagine what an addiction to an opioid, heroin, or even, I know meth is not an opiate, but it's still highly addictive.
Meth is.
I just can't imagine how these people must be going through living hell to be controlled that
Their entire
much.
life is controlled by the
Oh,
drugs.
absolutely. And you see some of these meth addicts, their teeth are falling out. They got sores all over themselves. And
Their eyes are sunk
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
it's just physically it's destroying them
Yeah.
too.
I it's amazing. This fellow I was telling you about also told me that he would get up, wake up 3 or 4 times at night, and have to have a cigarette before he could go back to sleep.
I never woke up and had a cigarette just to have a cigarette. But if I was going to get up for anything, I would grab a cigarette.
Yeah.
And the first thing in the morning before my feet hit the floor, I had
You were
one
lighting that?
lighten it up already. you know.
Yeah. Addiction is something that we're not dealing well with.
No, we're not.
I mean,
We got addicted. You got a fentanyl dealer, a guy gets caught with that kilo of fentanyl, he shouldn't see the light of day again.
no, but yet the district attorney in Boston,
Oh, she won't.
she wants to open the cell doors and let all the drug offenders
Oh,
in.
I know.
And
She won't. She don't want to prosecute any what she calls minor crime.
yeah.
But
But her nomination, by the way, is not exactly flying
I
through
hope
down
not.
in Washington.
I
I think it's fallen on evil times.
yeah.
Unless the Republicans are stalling it, have a method for stalling discussion of it, which they probably do.
She should not be. What was
No.
it? Federal marshal, federal
Federal
attorney,
prosecutor.
prosecutor.
Yeah.
That's not. Her reputation is so bad that and she is so soft on crime. When I used to see the things when somebody got picked up for shoplifting out of New York City, they'd come to the outlet mall and get caught with $8,000 worth of merchandise they pilfered over there. And I thought, you fools, why didn't you go another 20 miles into her county?
Yeah.
She won't even prosecute
Yeah,
you.
that's exactly right.
You
Yeah.
can walk in, take whatever you want.
You know, how would you like to be a store owner
No, not not.
and have the police say there's nothing we can do about
Yep,
this?
that's right.
Yeah. This is a bad situation, and this is where a certain group of people are trying to take this country.
Yep.
No one should feel responsible for their actions because it's society's fault.
Always somebody else's fault.
It's the way you were taught in
Yeah.
school by backward, stupid teachers, or the way you were influenced in the military by thugs and
Yep.
you name it. It's amazing. We can think of more excuses why you're not responsible, why you don't take responsibility for your own behavior.
Even when it's self-destructive.
Yeah.
You know, you see these people making a big fuss over. Now, we're in a this COVID thing has changed everybody's life. You and I, and you know, bigger change than we've ever seen.
Yeah.
We've never seen society uprooted like it is now, or has been. You know, with stores closing and this closing, people losing their job, people dying. You know, getting a disease that you can't see, you can't taste, and all of a sudden somebody's got it, and somebody's dead, and somebody else is very sick from it. And then the idea is that the two camps. Well, it's nothing. It's something really serious. And the idea that they put out a vaccine, and then you got a camp that says, I'm not getting that. Oh, no. Until they get it. Until they get sick. And then they're saying, I've seen and read stories about, can't you give me the vaccine? Well, it's too late.
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, God.
I mean, you want to
you
talk
talk
about a guy that was on top.
Yep,
A guy that was the fill-in host on Jeopardy.
that's right.
That was doing ads a million miles an hour for State Farm.
Yeah.
And I'm just making piles of money.
Yep.
was a celebrity on top
Pres-
of the world.
Yeah, and prestige and
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then he
exactly.
gets caught in a stupid lie
dumb.
and then had the arrogance to say, I wasn't lying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what.
And
Uh,
have you noticed what he looks like a
homeless
drug addict,
bum.
a homeless bum drug addict. now.
Yes. And that
Dirty
is-
looking hair and the sunken eyes
that-
and
he went back, he went to the Tom Brady diet.
yeah.
And his
He's-
body looks like it's lost tone or
Yeah,
something.
exactly.
But he's let his appearance go to hell.
Yeah.
God, well, I tell you what, you want to talk about shooting yourself in the foot? 2 guns.
Oh, I think
Both
he
feet
did.
at the same
Double-
time.
Yep.
I wrote something down here. It's nothing to do with what we're talking
All
about.
right. Doesn't matter. We can
Yeah, we're
we do that all the
freelancing.
time anyway.
The educational system in this country leaves a great deal to be desired.
I got
College, they're putting out people with a diploma that can't tie their shoes. High schools, they're graduating kids that would have been flunked out 3 times over previously. Grade schools, they're way below what national averages used to be. What the devil's going on? I don't know.
I got a good idea why.
Yep. All right. I'll tell you what. Let me make my point,
Go
then
ahead.
we'll get right to yours. One of the biggest mistakes that the American educational system ever made was doing away with vocational schools and vocational wings and the stigma of, oh, you're a shop kid.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's one of that is
You're
one of the big
low
ones.
on the
Yep.
totem pole. You go where all the dullards go.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they're plumbers and electricians, and they got their own companies now. The last laugh is on you for,
That's right.
running them down. But
you're right, that
for
atti-
the educational system,
There was
to
that attitude.
allow that to happen, shame on the whole damn bunch of them.
That's right. We've got to stop dealing with the philosophical issues over practical issues.
Compartmentalizing things into boxes. Everything doesn't fit in the same box.
That's right. Exactly, it doesn't. And what we've seen over the years, and I've commented this to my wife too. She was an educator, and I said, things changed back when 50 some years ago when you were in college. When I was in college, sometimes they had mostly the classes that you were majoring in. And then I saw creeping in the philosophical fundamentals of education, the philosophical methods of education, the philosophical method of dealing with the problem student. And pretty soon all these philosophical programs started taking precedent over if you were going to be a geologist over a geology course. There is no reason in the world that somebody goes to college, going to be an electrical engineer, has to take so many hours of ancient Egyptian history or philosophy or
Latin.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
Latin comes in handy every day.
the reason you're taking those is because we have got too many PhDs that did that, and now you've got to justify their existence in the educational system. Well, we've got 12 PhD professors in ancient history. Well, what are we going to do with them? We're going to every kid take ancient history courses. Well, if you didn't have those guys in there in the first place, you wouldn't have to take the kids to
And
take
you
those
could
courses.
be teaching them
Something
more
else
practical
that was
classes
good they were
that
gonna
can
use.
Yeah. Oh, boy,
This,
we're on the
and then
same
they always
page.
use it. What's a rounded out education? Baloney. Ask about anybody that graduated from college. How much did you ever use from some of the crap that you had to take?
Well,
I
corporations.
took classes when I walked out that door on the last day. I said goodbye. I don't even know what I just wrote the exam. I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't.
Corporations. finding that the college student that walks in with his diploma has got his feet planted someplace up in the clouds.
That's right, because
They have
they've
no
been given so much
foundation.
crap.
Yeah, yeah, well,
No, you take a kid
it's
go
madness.
take a kid in Europe or Japan. I don't care where it is, but Western Europe particularly. When he goes to grade school, he's learning 2 or 3 different languages. When he gets into their well, they don't even call them high schools. They got different names for
Yeah.
them, but different countries. But they're emphasizing already what their major's going to be, what they want to do in life. And then they develop, when they get out of school, these kids are multilingual. They got a good command of whatever their subject was. And they're
And
way
they
ahead of a kid.
Start them with reading, writing, and arithmetic.
That's right.
Okay, and build out from there.
Yep.
Oh, we're not. That's old line thinking. We've
And-
got to teach them to love one another.
And even in the basic sciences or basic classes, it's infiltrated into math. Now, how can you change math? 1 and 1 is 2.
Yeah.
2 and 2 is 4. But now we got this idea that, well, this has a relationship to this, and it's some kind of philosophical thing, and it just doesn't make any sense, and the kid never grows up with the idea that this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4.
They also have blurred the line between right and wrong.
Oh, absolutely. There is no line
There is
anymore.
there is no wrong.
No, there is no
No.
wrong.
And who's suffering from it?
Yeah.
We all are.
We all are. Society does. And the society
right.
gets this, instead of somebody that's outstanding with something and somebody outstanding, everything's all mixed together and amalgamized. And nobody's really good with anything.
Exactly. Yeah. Me. The one of the articles, and I didn't get a chance to read it this morning, but I read the headline, read the first couple of paragraphs. The Massachusetts legislature. You want to talk about people that don't know what they're doing?
Oh, my God.
They got this $4 billion gift
Yeah.
from the federal government. And they have adjourned this session of the legislature without agreeing as to how it will be spent or allocated. You know, you can just see
Oh,
in there, if we put on our X-ray vision and shoot it in the direction of Beacon Hill,
yeah.
we can find, well, I need this for my constituency. Oh, well, my uncle's a bridge maker. I wanted him to get dibs on building this bridge over here. Oh, my son-in-law
Well,
is a
it's not-
contractor.
That would be okay. Bridges or some. It's going to be. I want a memorial in this park dedicated to Jaime Pupic, or
Yeah.
I want something crazy, stupid stuff that doesn't going to benefit anybody.
But they're fighting over all of this,
Yeah.
and it's all territorial. It's all which chairman can grab this
Yeah,
and that,
exactly.
and they can't agree. So they're not going to do anything.
They won't-
So
nothing
here's
will get
$4
done with it.
billion just sitting.
Well, what will happen? $4 billion, $200 million will get put into something that's practical, and the rest will get peed away someplace.
Blown to
Yeah.
the winds.
Yep.
And Governor Baker is saying, people, do something, make some decisions, free up this money so
Yeah.
we can put it to work.
Fix
And-
the roads.
Talk about fiddling while Rome burns.
And I don't think we're any better. Last time I saw a report, we were only second to worst. We were second worst highways in the United States, only right behind Louisiana. And they have a reason.
Yeah.
They don't have a subsurface in a lot of their places to build roads. They got to put in special
Pilings.
pilings
Yeah.
and crush rock.
They're
and
like
all that.
buildings, yeah. Well, yeah, but we have an excuse. We have to salt our roads
Oh,
and
yeah.
plow our roads, so we're banging our roads up all winter.
Yeah, but like North Dakota's and
Yeah.
Wyoming, they don't have to
No,
do that.
no.
No, they're tropical and they're.
Well, they snap their fingers
Yeah.
and the snow goes away. Yeah. we could spend all show on
Oh,
the
absolutely.
Massachusetts legislature. They're hopeless. Hopeless. Um, two things. I got 5 million notes. Folks, if you got nothing to do and all day to do it, and you want to have some fun, there's a website called Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Florida Man.
Okay, I'm going to check that one
And
out.
they are, it is, my kids are telling me, whenever they want to laugh, they type up Florida Man. And because the stories always start with Florida Man tries to tackle alligator and
okay.
it bites his leg off.
Yeah.
Or just, Florida Man dead drunk drives his car up a telephone pole. They're the most ridiculous stories you ever want to read in your life. But they all start off with Florida Man. So someday, if you want to laugh, bang that into your computer and take a peek. It's interesting. Here's something else interesting. President Biden's approval rating is falling like a rock. The approval is 41% approve, 53% disapprove. Now, I've seen other polls that are 38 approve and in the 50s disapprove. But and this is an interesting one. By a 59 to 38 margin, people are concerned that President Biden is increasing the size of government and raising taxes. So those policies are quite unpopular.
That's two subjects that are third rail all the time anyway. You can't say I'm going to raise taxes and live in the government. But the size of government, that's always been a problem. But it's being a bigger problem now. You can see when the government goes on, not on strike, but when they run out of money and they don't get paid, it still functions.
Going to happen in mid-December.
Yeah,
again.
well, go into some of these bureaucracies and go to the empty desks. Only essential employees need to show up. Well, then go to the empty desks and write their name down and get them off the list.
Yeah.
Because you don't need them.
Don't need them.
Yep. But look at the local government, for example. When Walsh left and Janey took over, she got a whole crew to come in. Now Janey leaves, Wu comes in with a whole nother group of people. You didn't need these people in the first place. Otherwise, you couldn't be turning them over just and take this mass of people and turn them over for this mass of people. Well, they weren't needed in the first place. They're all extra baggies that hang around with these elected officials.
Yeah, that they're all friends of someone. And
Look at the
getting
titles that they carry.
Yeah.
Director of Left-Handed Workers, CEO of this. Look at you get the Globe. Watch the names on the letters to the editor of the organizations that they represent. Director, CEO of Western Massachusetts Gopher Society.
Yeah.
Director of this society. Who are these people? How do they get money, and where does money come from? I'll bet you there's 10,000 organizations in this state.
And all of them get government funding. But they have friends among the legislators. You got to get out the vote for me, and
Yep, exactly.
I'll take care of you folks. I'll make sure that project of yours is funded.
It's not going to change. It's been that way for years and years and years.
Patronage.
Yep, patronage.
And
cronyism.
Yep. And Mike Dukakis spoke out against it. Lost an election over it.
Oh yeah.
Because people wanted to have low license plates.
Yeah.
They wanted their cousin Eddie to get a job at the big dig,
Yeah, exactly.
wielding a shovel, and on it went.
I don't know about today, but this was years ago. I read a thing that there was not one firefighter at Logan Airport that had got his job through the regular channels. Every single one of them came through a legislator or somebody with influence to get him out there, because that was the cake job. I don't know about today, but then
That and the MBTA.
because how many planes are you rescuing at Logan? When's the last time they had a big
Yeah.
air wreck out there for
Yeah.
anything? And the rest of them, they once in a while go out and practice for a couple hours, and then they just go do whatever they got to do. You've got nothing to do, but
It's it is a persistent problem. It's been with us forever. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
And it's a big deal. It's
It is. And when the Speaker of the House calls
Yeah.
and says, hi, Mr. Jones, look, I understand you were just awarded a contract to work on the Smith School in Belmont. I have a couple of fellows that I need you to put to work.
exactly the way it goes.
That's it.
You the person that you picked there to make an example of is not just a random pick. They've all been known to do that over and over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But when he does it, that is like the wrath of God coming down.
Bill, I heard from the horse's mouth when I can't even think of his name, the previous governor. Shit. I want to see Obama. What was his name? We got these senior moments that
Yeah. Deval Patrick.
Patrick. He got elected. The next day, the next week, he's on a talk show that Marjorie Egan and Jim Brody characters. Oh my God! If you've never seen them, don't. If you see the name, just stay away because they're nuts. But they had Patrick on it, and there was a scandal that broke that somebody went from 602 on the waiting list to be a fireman to number one.
Wow, amazing how that happens.
And it had just broken in the paper about this jump. And Patrick had ran on the thing that he was going to change all that stuff, that these kind of shenanigans weren't going to go on. So they nailed him right away on what happened to Joe Schmicker here. He went from 602 to number one. You know what he said? Yeah, I had to do it because I owed somebody a favor.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
Well,
huh?
he just admitted that he's
Yeah.
doing the same thing that he said he wasn't going to do.
Complete fraud.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Um,
Of course, Brody, or Jim Brody, I think his name is.
yeah,
Oh, that's nice. You know, he's
yeah.
so
Well,
dumb,
it's
he
good
don't
to
know.
take care of your friends. I
Yeah,
know
oh, yeah.
that, Mr. Governor. Yeah, what a bunch of crapola. This morning, also in the paper. Now, you and I talked about mass casts.
Yeah,
Mass and casts.
Mass and Cass, they call it.
As the going away deal, well, the temporary mayor, how quickly I forget her name.
Janie.
She said, tear the tents down, clean up the excrement every place, get these people off the street now. Okay, so they went in and brutalized the people, if you listen to the byplay, and started tearing the tents down. The people go to the ACLU, or perhaps the ACLU is already involved.
They already got their nose in it.
And they said, you cannot send these people away from their home, which happens to be a tent they're squatting in, but without having a place for them to stay. Now, to that, I agree. I mean, for us as a country, as prosperous as we are, to have as many people living on the street in the wintertime is ridiculous. But anyway, so she said, clean it up. The businesses and the people down there that live in that area, they've put up with this situation long enough. Michelle Wu is the new mayor of Boston. Yesterday, she took the reins. She stopped tearing the tents down at Mass and Cass and said, cease and desist and don't bother the people. We have to work this problem out in a
Yeah,
different fashion.
See, you can't just look at homelessness as homelessness, because it's not. It's homelessness is the end result of multiple symptoms. You got the bums. You do have the bums that just, I ain't working. Then you got the drunks or the alcoholics. Then you got the drug addicted people. Then you've got the
mentally
mental,
challenged.
the mental people with the mental problems. And you probably got a criminal element in there.
Oh, yes.
You got everything mixed to a pot, and you call it the homeless problem. Well, there's not one simple solution for this, but there are different solutions that you can take, but you got to stop using the excuse. There was that, what's the place there in Quincy,
Yeah.
Long Island or
Long
something?
Island.
Was that the name of it? And they had
Yep.
a bridge that they can't. Well, all of a sudden they couldn't go there anymore. Well, they haven't dynamited the roads to go around it.
Wow.
You can still do that, but it's too far now.
Yeah, and not only that, but the Massachusetts, in their wisdom, is building a walking bridge.
Yeah.
And where is the walking bridge going to end? At the front door of the gambling casino.
The Encore Casino.
Well, we can do that. And the government, by the way, is picking up the tab for the whole thing.
Yep.
But we can't reconstruct the bridge to Long Island where a rehab facility sits empty.
But even if you don't reconstruct the bridge, what's to stop from driving there? Nothing. And you got facilities. I don't know what's left anymore. The one in Danvers used to be. I know there are facilities that are sitting empty that could be refurbished into different types of facilities, but we don't do that.
Dwayne, I have an editorial I wrote.
Okay.
I think this is the time to read it. The Mass Cass Mess. The ACLU is entering the fray on the side of the people being bulldozed off the sidewalk and sent packing with nowhere to go. This is a miserable knee-jerk reaction to a miserable problem. No one wants the homeless. No one will take them. They are pariahs in the land of plenty. Nope. The motto cried by the suburbs is NIMBY. Not in my backyard, and they mean it. Jesus preached his second greatest commandment to be to love thy neighbor as thyself. Where is that practiced, pray tell? Massachusetts had a wonderful network of state hospitals for folks that are troubled, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Among others, Foxborough State Hospital, Medfield State Hospital, Wrentham State School, Taunton, Bridgewater, Danvers, Gardner, Grafton, Metropolitan, Westboro, Worcester, the Paul Dever School, Lakeville, Middleton, and on and on. Then we had the dawn of enlightenment and closed the system down and threw the inmates to the four winds. This occurred beginning in the Dukakis administration. They realized it was also expensive. The rationale, you see, was spouted thusly. These people being taken care of, these unfortunates, once freed, would prosper in society. They would be happier. They would grow and develop. What a cruel deception that was. as society as a whole wiped their hands of the problem, saving lots of state funds for lots of worthy programs. The arts, probably, greenways and such, leaving the helpless, the less fortunate, the addicted, and those who cannot cope to fend for themselves, flapping somewhere in the breeze, as it were. Are they better off now, freed from the institutions where they received care, or are they better off on Mass and Cass? For shame, all of you loving liberals who cast these problems out of the only homes many of them ever knew, and now they wander about as the lost tribe of Israel, shuffling here, shuffling there, hungry, cold, sick, and miserable. And the wealthy suburbs, how are they doing, you ask? Oh, just fine, ignoring that mess in Boston, playing golf, going to the opera, and scooting about the safe suburbs in their Bentleys and Porsches, electrically powered, of course, because they care about the climate and carbon footprints, while ignoring the street dwellers, that miserable, annoying lot. Yes, we in the suburbs ignore them as we stomp by chanting NIMBY.
True.
Did I miss anything?
Nope.
What do you think, folks?
We know the problem. We just don't know the solution.
Yeah. As one of the town fathers said to me one day when I said, why didn't we build more low-income housing when we put up those units? He said, we're not going to do that. He said, we're not going to have any more ghettos in Norfolk. He said, my house is my retirement, and I want the value of the house to continue to go up, not to come down. And that's the truth, and I'm sticking to it. So, we go tut 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 out here in the suburbs when we look at the pictures of Mass and Cass. We have nothing to say, nothing to do. We don't prove, we choose not to get involved.
Part of that goes back a ways. When we started to what they called mainstream people with problems, that's part of the problem where it started. Some people should not have been mainstream, but oh my God, how will they feel if they're separated? And if I was in a wheelchair, I know I'm in a wheelchair,
Yeah.
and I don't mind going someplace that has a ramp. But oh no, you can't. You got to mainstream everybody today. You can't say, well, some of these people have a mental problem. They should be treated. Oh no! You got to put them out in the street. Let them fend for themselves.
Well, you see, society, they'll interface with society
Yeah,
and
it-
be all the richer because
Oh,
of
and they'll just be cured automatically by
Yeah.
It,
I
goes back to way back to what we were talking about before, the philosophical education process. It's all that pie in the sky stuff that doesn't work.
Do you suppose out in the wealthy suburbs, when they have their tete-a-tetes, their Labor Day cookouts and all,
No.
and invite all their snooty friends, do you suppose they'd invite some of those homeless too that have been sent away from the state hospitals and put out in society?
Only if Channel 4 is going to show up with a news crew to publicize it on the news tonight. What a great
Extreme-
humanitarian you are.
Extremely well said. Ah,
Ted Kennedy, look at him, crime all sakes. He preached one thing out of the side of his mouth, and he did something total opposite on the other side.
John Kerry.
Or John Kerry, oh, the green, we got to watch for the environment and clean the environment. Kerry's got a boat that half the town could get on. What was his name? I can't think of it. He had always preaching the green, and he had a house. I saw something that his electric bill was like $800-900 a month. Or these guys that the Hollywood people, the celebrity people. We can't do this. We can't do that. We got to save the seal and save the turtles. In the meantime, when they travel someplace, they get on their own private jet.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't get on a plane with somebody else to take an empty seat that would just sit there by itself. Oh no, they got to have their own jet to go someplace.
Do you know what the ultimate outrage to me is? Well, I shouldn't say the ultimate, but another one of my major complaints.
We'll give you that.
We're looking at this $3.5 trillion giveaway, this mad march to socialism, and arguing and fighting over this. And something undoubtedly will pass, and it'll be inflationary and stupid and a waste of money. And yet, we're wasting all this time and all this energy on this stupid pie in the sky nonsense.
Yeah.
Social reforming.
Yeah. I agree.
And
go ahead.
Yet, Social Security and Medicare are both heading for disaster unless these jackasses do something about it.
That's right. And the solutions are relatively simple on either one of them.
They are. But
they
you
don't
know
want to
what?
touch anything.
They don't want to bite the bullet.
Yep.
I don't want to be the one. The Democrats, Republicans, they both stink on this.
Oh, yeah.
Because
we're
the
not
Republicans
bringing anybody
say,
in.
we're not going to do this because the Democrats will fight it because they say, oh, Social Security and Medicare, that's ours. You can't tamper with that. Mm-hmm. And then the Democrats say, if you think we're going to add to this and say, oh, we need to raise this and raise this and raise that and raise this, that we're not going to be the ones to suggest that. The Republicans want more programs, they're going to suggest the money. And with that, there's no coming together. It's a butting of heads.
That's right. It's everything's them and us. It's everything.
PYA.
Yeah. That's what it is.
And who suffers? We do.
We do. Yeah. There's no reason that Social Security should be in trouble.
Right.
Not with the amount of money that people make today, the acceptance of the program. But you got to stop dipping it in as a free fund for every little pet program you got. They dip into that. Well, we don't. It's just money there. We can just take it out. We don't have to get any appropriation. We'll just take it out of that fund.
Yeah.
We got to stop that. We got to start. And I hate that word means test, but in Social Security, you do have to start looking at means testing. Somebody that's making $250,000 a year does not need that $2,000 a month Social Security check.
Well, and not only that, Dwayne, but something else we've got to look at also is the income threshold.
Threshold. That was my next one.
Yes.
Yes. That's crazy.
It is insane.
It's insane.
If you're making $1 million a year, you can kick in all the way up to the $1 million.
That's right. Why should you get off after you're the one that can really afford it? And yet you're not putting anything into it.
And the Democrats won't do it because, well, we have our rich friends too.
Yeah. Well, they both sides won't touch it.
They're weasels. But for heaven's sakes, the Democrats are preaching about the rich paying their fair share. Well, to my way of thinking, if some guy that's making 15 or 16 bucks an hour and has to kick in $7 7.5, is it, for Social Security?
Yeah,
Six and
something
a
like
half?
something in that.
Something like that, and the employer matches the other half of it and sends it off to the government to keep Social Security up and running. That's a hell of a lot more impact in that poor guy's
Oh.
paycheck than a millionaire having to spend $70,000 or $80,000 off to the government.
Bill, if you had $100 million
Yeah.
and you gave $1 million to somebody, well, that's nice, but it's not going to impact you.
Nothing.
You still live like a king at 99
Yeah.
million. So, but somebody's got 1,000 and they give out 100. That's a different
That's
story.
exactly right. And there's examples of that in the Bible too,
Yep.
about the poor little widow lady that put 2 coins in a collection basket.
Mm-hmm.
And Jesus taught that was more important for her to do that than it was for a rich man to take a bunch of coins and throw
Both
them
sides
in.
are such hypocrites.
Yeah.
I remember, and I'm a registered independent, or I guess what they call unenrolled in this state. And I voted for both sides. I voted Republican. I voted Democrat. I think you would probably have done the same thing.
Yeah, but I voted for 2 Democrats in my life, and they both ended up in prison.
You know, I probably voted for the same ones. Then. But
And one of them was a friend of mine.
you see this situation, and not because it's Democrat or Republican, but this is a Democratic state. Remember a few years ago when they were voting themselves a pay raise? Well, the Republicans, right down the rank, fought it. No, 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 no. But not one of them, when it passed, said, I don't want it, keep it. They all took it after they got it. But they took it, they blamed him for
Yeah.
voting for
Oh,
it.
exactly.
But I took it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the infrastructure bill now. I think there's 10 or 12 or 13 Republicans that are voted for it. I mean, the physical, thank you. The physical infrastructure with bridges and roads and stuff. There's 13 of them that are getting criticized for voting for it, but yet every one of the other ones will say, yeah, I want that money in my state. I want my bridges fixed too. I want my road fixed, but I'm not going to vote for it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
crazy.
I'll be absent that day.
Yeah,
or-
I won't vote for it. I'll fight against it, but I know it's going to pass, so give me the money too. They're total hypocrites.
They are. And you know, we're powerless to do anything about it. We really and truly are.
Look, particularly, you and I, a couple of know-nothing senior citizens sitting here shooting our mouth off, we see the problem. Why don't some of the smart people see the problem and do something about it?
Well, those same smart people have got a totally different set of values,
I think
it
so.
seems to me, than we do.
And they got a lot more influence. That's the
They
thing.
certainly
When
do.
they say something, people listen to it.
Yeah.
When we say something, they say, "Oh, that 2 old curmudgeons are whining
Yeah,
again
well,
about something."
when are we going to put those 2 away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't they aren't they ready to go to the home?
Just about shuffling off the buffalo, I'll
Yeah.
tell you. You know, I don't know. I've been to the State House lobbying for stuff that I'm concerned about. And I saw stuff in there that you just wouldn't believe. You can't make it up.
Oh, I know. It's
I mean, a well-known chairman, committee chairman, very well-known, in the papers all the time. I went in and talked to him, and he said, so what do you want, a yes or a no? I said, I want a no vote. I want you to oppose this. He said, go out and talk to Dwayne, or whatever the guy's name was, his head assistant, and tell him that I said okay. So I went out, and Dwayne said to me, how'd you make out? I said, good. He was very receptive and is going to vote no on this. He said, that's what you wanted. I said, right. He said, okay, now, I would like a check from you for the senator's re-election
Good for him, yeah.
campaign. I said, okay. You know, I never sent him a check. But they had to vote the next
Oh,
day,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
he voted no.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he forgot. Well, then again, maybe he didn't. I don't know. But when I mentioned this at the next meeting of the Mass Trappers Association, they were aghast. We will never bribe anyone. Never. And yet, another committee chairman, the chairman
Oh,
of
yeah.
the Natural Resources Committee, Joint Committee, Senate and House, I talked to him. He was on our side. And he said, I need $500. He said, and I guarantee you that as long as I am chairman of this committee, that ugly bit of legislation will never see the light of day.
Yeah. It's,
There was, at that time, 600 members of the State Trappers Association. Would have cost us $1 a piece. I talked to a lot of people real quick. I was willing, if I had enough people, I was willing to put up the money myself so that we could continue to trap. And then get a couple of the guys that had some money to kick in some money too. But I was willing to do that. And they were against me. We can't do anything like that. So 4 years later,
it's gone.
the legislation passes and we're out.
Yep.
Out of luck. And I went to them and said, there, you happy now?
That's it.
But that's how the game is played, and I couldn't get them to understand that. $1 a piece per member. And we could have had trouble. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't lessen your love for me and your respect for me when I air this sort of dirty laundry. But
Don't forget, though, he was a trapper.
that's right. It's the real world out there. That was my hobby. I loved trapping. Grandfather taught me how to trap when I was 6 or 7 years old. But anywho, well, folks, we've got the sign that we have completed another award.
Overstayed our welcome.
Another award-winning show headed for the Library of Congress. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Happy holidays coming.
That's right.
We got
Yeah.
Thanksgiving coming up
Yep.
very shortly, and then Christmas
And New Year's.
and New Year's.
I mean, we're on a roll.
We're set.
So,
Take
folks,
care.
we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Tune in, tell your friends.